the easiest ways to manipulate Donald Trump is to compliment him. He loves compliments and he has a fragile ego. And recently, President Joe Biden actually gave Donald Trump credit for Operation Warp Speed, which sped up the process of developing coronavirus vaccines. In fact, Biden said this: "Let me be clear, thanks to the prior administration and our scientific community, America is one of the first countries to get the vaccine. And thanks to my administration and the hard work of Americans, we led a rollout that made America among the world leaders in getting shots in arms." Now, Trump was surprised by this compliment and also, of course, pleased by the compliment. He loves to get credit for anything, really. And so he said this in an interview with Fox News: "I think it was a terrific thing, and I think it makes a lot of people happy. I think he did something very good. You know, it has to be a process of healing in this country, and that will help a lot." And he was also not subtle in his admission that Biden's flattery made him less likely to criticize Joe Biden in the future. We'll see how long that lasts. But in the same interview, Trump also said this: "It is a little tough to be overly critical now because he just thanked us for the vaccine and thanked me for what I did. You know, that's a first. So it is very tough for me to be overly critical now." And honestly, that answer did shed some light in regard to how Trump has been talking about the coronavirus vaccine and the booster shot in general. In fact, he was recently talking about the COVID vaccine and how it should be defended. Let's watch.
Well, I stand on, forget about the mandates, that people have to have their freedom, but at the same time, the vaccine is one of the greatest achievements of mankind. We would have had in 1917, remember the Spanish flu, killed perhaps 100 million people. And I came up with a vaccine, with 3 vaccines, all are very, very good. Came up with 3 of them in less than 9 months. It was supposed to take 5 to 12 years.
And yet more people have died under COVID this year, by the way, under Joe Biden, than under you. And more people took the vaccine this year. So people are questioning how.
Well, no, the vaccine worked, but some people aren't taking it. The ones that get very sick and go to the hospital are the ones that don't take the vaccine. But it's still their choice. And if you take the vaccine, you're protected. Look, the results of the vaccine are very good. And if you do get it, it's a very minor form. People aren't dying when they take the vaccine.
That has to be the most shocking interview I've seen with Donald Trump. First of all, just to respond to Candace Owens and her claim. Remember, Biden has had a full year of the pandemic, whereas the Trump administration really had to deal with it in mid-March on through December. And whatever, it doesn't matter. But like the way that they manipulate the numbers like that is ridiculous. But great answers, Donald Trump?
Yeah, so let me give a bunch of unexpected credit here. So number one, I wanna give credit to Joe Biden. I like how we're talking about like Trump did a good job. Oh yeah, back to Joe Biden. No, seriously, the reason is, I think he's a softie to Republicans and it drives me crazy. He's a softie to Manchin. We talked about that earlier in the show. But in this case, no, the Trump administration did only one thing right, in my opinion, and it was speed up the production of the vaccines. And there's nothing wrong with giving credit where credit is due, even to Trump. So I think Biden is right to point that out. I think it is conciliatory in both a factually correct way, but also a politically correct way. I don't mean
strategic way.
Strategically correct way, right? And so it's true that Trump will hype the vaccine more if you give him credit for it. Everyone knows that, and it worked perfectly, and Trump did do that. But I also want to give credit to Trump, not just for speeding up the vaccines. He did everything else wrong about coronavirus, injecting bleach and all that nonsense talk, and not promoting masks, etc. But he did that right? And so that's credit number one. Credit number two is saying the truth now. Saying, yeah, I got vaccinated, yeah, I got the booster shot. The people who are dying are the ones who are unvaccinated. All of those things are true. We would give Trump all the credit in the world if he actually said the truth, right? People think because of partisanship, oh, we're always gonna hate Trump, etc. right? We don't think like that. The reasons we hate Trump is because of the things he does. If he did the right things, then why would we hate him? Well, I wouldn't care. He's a fake populist. If he was a real populist, I'd actually like him. If he actually drained the swamp, I'd love it, right? But he didn't do that. But in this case, credit where credit is due, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that there are certain things that Trump has done that were not only good things to do, but also strategically smart. So for instance, when Trump insisted on having his signature on the coronavirus stimulus checks that were mailed out to Americans, all of the like elitist, DC insiders who were like, tut, we're stupid. Absolutely stupid. Yeah, you want to put your name on those checks. I don't begrudge him for wanting to do that. He understood the importance of getting money to people, but more importantly, taking credit for getting money to people.
Yeah, whereas Joe Biden whispers every time he does something right because he thinks it's like ungentlemanly. And then he'll give credit to Republicans. He's a terrible politician overall. But in this case, he played it right. The other thing that's interesting about Trump is that he's accidentally honest. And so what do I mean by that? Well, he'll tell you things that he shouldn't really necessarily tell you. He's like, why am I giving credit to Biden? Because he was nice to me.
He was nice to me, complimented me.
No, but Donald, you're not supposed to say that. You're supposed to say, because he deserves it and I'm generous and I'm a good person, if you're trying to be a cheesy politician. But don't give him credit for that one because he's too unintelligent to know that makes him look dishonest, right? In a very ironic way, right?
Yeah.
It makes him look like he's self-interested, right? But since he's saying things that a normal politician wouldn't say, he gives off the appearance of honesty. And so I think that's why his base loves him. They're like, well, I know a cheesy politician wouldn't say that, right? Because it doesn't really help his cause to go, well, I only like him because he's saying nice things about me. And it's not just about Joe Biden. Remember, he said that about Kim Jong-un, the communist dictator of North Korea. He's like, he wrote me a love letter. I now love him.
We fell in love.
We fell in love.
He used
You're
that
not
phrase.
supposed to say that out loud, you schmuck, right?
But whether it's intentional or unintentional, that honesty in the context of so many dishonest politicians comes across as refreshing for a lot of voters.
Yes, and that's what corporate Democrats don't understand. That's what not a single national reporter in the country understands, right? Because they think that people love the establishment. We don't. So that aura of populism, even if it's not matched by the substance, is very powerful politically. But this has cost them. The last part of it that's important. People are in the right-wing community are turning against them. Candace Owens then on Twitter doubled down and said, no, I'm very skeptical of the vaccines no matter what anybody says. Ben Garrison, the lunatic cartoonist that's a right-winger, did a cartoon mocking Trump.
Ooh, an angry doodle.
Right, I know. But for the right wing, since they're children, that stuff is important to them, right?
Yeah, sure.
Ted Nugent might get so upset he might crap himself. And then the right wing will be like, Nugent crapped himself? Okay, and oh my God, and there was a doodle. No, we're against Trump now. So Trump in a sense made the mistake of saying something that's true there, and it might cost them in the Republican Party.
We'll see.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.